Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Canadian Edition here. We're doing a review on the Chi-Nu 2 today. The Chi-Nu 2 is a premium rank 3 Japanese medium tank with a battle rating of 3.7. It was introduced with the entire Japanese Ground Forces tree in update 1.65, Way of the Samurai. The Chi-Nu 2 is essentially the Chi-Nu body with the turret from the Chi-To, giving the tank access to the high-power Type 5 75mm gun. The Chi-Nu 2 is a combination between two vehicles, as we were talking about there, the Type 3 Chi-Nu and the Type 4 Chi-To. It has the armor of the Type 3 Chi-Nu, but it has the gun of the Type 4 Chi-To. Thus, while presenting itself with a more vulnerable body, it has slightly better mobility than the Chi-To, a smaller profile, yet it carries the same powerful gun. The Chi-Nu 2 should be played like a sniper. It's not really good for close quarters. So against other medium tanks, it's all about getting the first shot off, because you can just rip through their hull with this 75mm. There will be some tanks that can withstand your gun, such as the Churchill Mark 7. Either aim for the weak points or flank those tanks. So what I'm doing in this battle here, some people call it sitting back like a coward, but I'm just kind of sussing things out. I'm not familiar with this map, so I'm just sort of checking out how everyone plays. And if you look in the bottom left corner of the screen, you'll see this tank's really small. It's basically just modules and crew. Just give me a second here. There we go. So look in the bottom left corner. You can see there's the 2 crew members in the turret. There's the 3 crew members. The whole back of the turret is just ammo. The whole back of the hull is the engine and fuel and radiators, and the front is the transmission. And it's basically any shot that goes through this tank is going to knock out at least 2 crew members in a module every time. So it's very vulnerable, but it more than makes up for that with its mobility and its gun. The Type 5 gun is outstanding. It's comparable to the 17-pounder that the British get. So we're just hanging out here trying to range up some targets. The enemy team has A and C, but we have B, so we're slowly but surely losing. So some of the pros of the Chi-To here, before we get into the battle. It's got a powerful 75mm cannon, rivaling the T-34-85 for its battle rating. It's got good penetration and very low shell drop-off. It's got a decent gun depression of negative 10 degrees. It's got good handling, same as the Chi-Nu. Fast and mobile. It's a narrow chassis, so it allows it to access areas like alleyways that wider tanks wouldn't be able to get through. But this also comes with a disadvantage because, like I said, you take a shot, it's going to knock out a lot of modules or crew. So some of the cons: the Chi-Nu's 50mm of armor is vulnerable to most incoming fire. Don't expect to bounce anything with this tank from anyone at any distance for any reason, unless they're like anti-aircraft. And even then, if they have armor-piercing rounds, they'll probably go through your tank. Most parts of the armor are only lightly sloped, even the turret. So this makes the armor even worse. So it's not like the T-34 where it has the 45 millimeters of sloped armor, so it's like worth double that almost. The reload rate is quite slow, so you do get a really powerful gun with great explosive characteristics in the shell, but it does take a while to reload. And angling your front armor, which is what most people do, you can see my tank's actually angled right now. If you look at the bottom left, my turret's looking over to the left. I'm trying to angle my tank. That's actually a mistake because I'm exposing my weaker 35 millimeter side armor, which they can go through. So if you don't rely on this tank's armor and instead rely on its gun depression, its gun, and its mobility, keep in mind it's got a slower reload, I think you can appreciate this tank. I really enjoy it. It helps me grind my Japanese tanks. So a little bit of history about this tank. The lackluster performance of Japanese tanks in World War II called for the development of newer medium tanks in the Imperial Japanese Army. The standard tank at the time was the Type 97 Chi-Ha, which has its chassis used in many expedient models to provide a bigger gun for the Japanese inventory, such as the Chi-Ha Kai, Type 1 Chi-He, Type 2 Ho-I, and the Type 3 Chi-Nu. Take a shot into, looks like a Scorpion there. No, an AMX-13 FL-11, a French light tank there. And absolutely shatter his life, so he's out. And we're moving into the city here. But basically the Japanese were looking for tanks to replace their current tanks in development, and they were looking for shortcuts, so they were taking hulls of existing tanks and putting new turrets and guns on top of them, and maybe replacing the engine or upgrading other things to get them to work. Unfortunately, they ran out of time. By the time this tank, I don't even think this tank was developed. Let me just read this here. Yeah, like most of the Japanese late war tanks developed and retained in the home island for the final defense, the modified Chi-Nu and its counterparts never saw battle against Allied armor. Japan surrendered in September 1945, effectively ending World War II. A few Chi-Nu 2s were made before the end, but they are most likely sent to the scrapyard along with most of the other Japanese equipment with their demilitarization. So, the Japanese... Sorry guys. The Japanese were looking for tanks to replace... Oh, we just missed a shot there on that tank destroyer there. They were looking for quick solution to replace their tanks because the guns weren't adequate, so they were taking turrets and guns and slapping them onto hulls and testing all sorts of prototypes, and they never actually saw combat because the testing wasn't able to be finished before the end of the war. So some of these tanks in this game, like this one here, never actually saw service against Allied armor. Yet they're amazing in the game. So maybe if the Japanese had developed these tanks sooner, they would have, you know, done a little bit better against the Allies. Who knows? Who's to say? This tank, however, is good. I recommend it. I think it's a nice looking tank. I mean, it's not the prettiest tank, but at the same time, it's not ugly. I think it looks kind of rugged. I like it. It earns you lots of lions and experience, and it'll help you grind the Japanese line. We can see an enemy T-34 up there. We're going to take a shot. Oh, I don't know if we're going to hit him or not. No, too slow. So we're going to move into the city here. Yeah, so I'm playing on realistic battles. If you guys are still playing arcade battles, I highly recommend you play realistic battles. They're very enjoyable. And they give you a better sense of how tank combat actually was. So we can see that T-34 from earlier. And we don't know if he sees us or not. So we're just kind of checking him out. So he's going around, and we're thinking, okay, we're going to go flank him. We think he's coming around towards us to flank us, right? So we're like, okay, we'll do the reverse flank on him. So we'll go after him, and we'll flank him before he flanks us. So we're going around. I don't see him yet. There he is, looking over his ass, and he takes a shot, and he misses. We put one through him, and he's done. He's completely done. He's on fire, he's lost half his crew. Put another shot in just to finish him off. And that's the end of that guy. So he did know that we were coming. We thought he wouldn't see the reverse flank there, but he did actually try to put a shot into us. But because he was firing over the rear of the T-34, he wasn't able to connect with us there. So this is what you're not really supposed to do with the Chi Nu 2. You're not really supposed to take it into the city and brawl like this, but this game was not going our way, and I had to do something for our team here, in my opinion. So this was my decision to move in. So we're just checking left and right here, trying to search for enemies. This is one of the most exciting parts about realistic battles. You never know what's going to be around the corner. It's really thrilling. And we make an error here. We checked the right, but we didn't check the left. Bang. Tank destroyer waiting for us on the left. Knocks out our gunner, injures other crew members, and damages our cannon breech. We can't fire from the cannon without killing ourselves, and we're in enemy territory. That was a huge mistake. All because I didn't check my left. So we're basically crippled right now. So I'm just trying to repair the tank. And I should have turned this thing around. Shouldn't have exposed my weak armor like this, but I don't have enough. Right now, our cannon is not operational. We've lost some crew. We're deep in enemy territory. They know where our position is. And we can't fire from our cannon. Our cannon breech has been damaged. And it's going to take 48 seconds to repair it. So we're sitting here with our pants down, just praying that no one's going to roll up. And this is another great thing about realistic battles. Please, enemy team, do not send anyone after me. Oh, fuck. It's a Cromwell. Bang. And that's the end of our Chi Nu 2 review. Thanks for that, Cromwell.